Seraphina, a whirlwind of creativity, lived in her art studio, a vibrant sanctuary filled with color and chaos. Canvases leaned against walls, paintbrushes danced in whimsical arrangements, and a mischievous Siamese cat, Mr. Whiskers, reigned supreme amidst the swirling dust motes. Her world, however, was tranquil, solitary. She found solace in the dance of colors and the intoxicating fragrance of oil paints. Her life revolved around art, with Mr. Whiskers as her sole companion. Then, one day, the harmony was shattered by the thud of boots and the gruff voice of a contractor. A new tenant was moving in, and renovations were on the horizon. Her haven was soon filled with a cacophony of hammering and sawing. A man in dusty overalls, his face a mask of focused intensity, surveyed the space, his name a rumbling Cassian. His eyes, however, held a hidden spark of intrigue, sparking a silent curiosity within Seraphina. Their worlds collided, a clash of chaos and order. Seraphina, a riot of colors and textures, a burst of unrestrained passion, was met with Cassian, a man of sharp angles and methodical precision, his aura as solid and unyielding as concrete. They were two sides of a coin, their opposing personalities drawing a constant dance of friction. "I can't believe you actually leave your tools just anywhere," she'd scoff, pointing to his messy toolkit. He'd retort with a smile, a touch of amusement in his eyes. "There's an order to my madness, believe it or not. This isn't a playground." Yet, their exchanges, despite being barbed, held a spark of intrigue, the whispers of an unspoken attraction amidst the swirling dust of renovations. Each accidental touch sent a tremor through their veins, their eyes lingering a moment too long. A playful rivalry had begun, with neither quite able to decipher the complex emotions rising within them. One evening, the air was thick with the aroma of paint thinner and coffee. Seraphina, lost in her latest masterpiece, was unaware of the quiet approach of Cassian, who was staring intently at a canvas hidden in a corner. It wasn't her usual style. This one, painted in muted tones, portrayed a lonely figure amidst the stark, deserted landscape. Cassian's voice, soft as the breeze. "I didn't know you painted in this style." Her eyes darted up, surprised. "It's old. An experiment, just for myself." But his gaze, lingering on the painting, told a different story. The truth, revealed in the unspoken tension of the air, lay hidden beneath the surface. Cassian was no ordinary architect, but an art connoisseur with a past. An art thief, whose eyes were fixated on the painting, his secret yearning mirrored in his captivating gaze. Cassian began to understand Seraphina's unique artistic world. The vibrancy of her creations, her dedication, the chaos she called home, they drew him in, challenging the structured boundaries of his world. He started noticing the rhythm of her brushstrokes, the way her laughter resonated like a melody, and the softness in her eyes when she looked at her cat, Mr. Whiskers. Their shared passion for art and architecture blossomed, intertwining their lives. Seraphina, in turn, began to see beyond the stoic facade. Beneath Cassian's methodical exterior was a sensitive soul. His appreciation for her art was evident in his thoughtful insights, and the vulnerability that peeked through his guardedness ignited a flame of tenderness within her. But as they were falling for each other, they also stumbled upon a shared secret, a painting stolen years ago that brought both joy and guilt to Cassian's heart. He sought it in the studio, yearning for it as a part of his redemption. His love for Seraphina, however, was now tangled with his complicated past, making their newfound connection a risky venture. Seraphina started noticing Cassian's unsettling silences, the stolen glances towards the hidden painting. He often mumbled about unfinished business, and his haunted expression, the way he looked at her, hinted at something he kept hidden. But his secretive nature was beginning to erode her trust. His actions were filled with conflict. He began to repair a hole in the studio wall, where the missing painting had hung, leaving behind a framed, empty canvas as a stark reminder. Seraphina questioned him, demanding answers. "Cassian, why are you acting so strange? Tell me what's going on." The air thrummed with tension, his eyes meeting hers in a desperate plea, begging for her understanding. But before he could speak, a police car's siren echoed through the city, interrupting their unspoken conversation. The siren screamed in Cassian's ears as the police burst into his studio. The stolen painting, hidden beneath a layer of canvas, was exposed, his carefully crafted facade crumbling into dust. He braced himself for arrest, his heart sinking, as Seraphina looked at him with a mixture of confusion and anger, the question in her eyes, "Who are you, really?" Their dance of attraction had now transformed into a tragic game of cat and mouse. He felt the pain of his actions mirrored in Seraphina's betrayed gaze. Her face was a mixture of disappointment, confusion, and fear. His world crumbled as his carefully constructed illusion shattered. The truth, painful and raw, had finally been laid bare, the stolen painting a symbol of his guilt and a cruel reminder of the fragile trust that he'd broken. The news of Cassian's arrest swept through the studio like a storm. The man she had grown to love, the man who brought such an intricate, unspoken harmony to her chaotic world, was gone. The vibrant energy that had filled the studio had now been replaced by a deafening silence. Seraphina felt a conflict raging inside her. She could choose to believe in the version of Cassian that she had known, the man who held her hand and shared a love of art, or she could surrender to the weight of his past and accept him for the thief he truly was. Cassian's world, his hopes and dreams, lay shattered at her feet, begging for forgiveness. The future, uncertain and unpredictable, dangled in the air. Seraphina, with a heart aching with conflicted emotions, made a decision. She couldn't simply cast aside the man who had touched her soul, who understood her art, who made her world feel complete. With a renewed determination, she walked to the police station. "It was my fault," she announced to the officers, taking responsibility for the missing artwork. She had witnessed his guilt, his longing for redemption. She knew this stolen painting was his burden, the past he desperately sought to leave behind. Cassian, released from the police station, couldn't believe what he saw. Seraphina, standing with him, took his hand, a spark of determination in her eyes. "We will face this together." Their eyes locked, their hearts beating in unison. The unspoken words spoke louder than any legal pronouncements, forging a bond stronger than the burden of his past. Cassian was now free, but his past cast a long shadow. It was time for him to paint a new picture. Seraphina had shown him faith, opening a pathway to redemption. He was ready to turn over a new leaf. His talents, his passion, were no longer bound by the shackles of his past. Seraphina's forgiveness gave him the courage to rewrite his own story. With a shared hope for a brighter tomorrow, he stood in his art-filled studio, with Seraphina at his side, their faces illuminated by the glow of the sunset. His paintbrush danced across the canvas, fueled by a love that had endured the storm, a love that brought them together as if they were meant to be. Their symphony was no longer one of chaos and order, but one of mutual understanding, love, and acceptance. Life wasn't a perfectly orchestrated symphony, and it wouldn't always be easy. But for Cassian and Seraphina, their bond was a testament to the transformative power of love, forgiveness, and shared dreams. They both discovered something magical in each other, a love that transcended their differences. And as they gazed at the newly finished painting, an intricate blend of chaos and order, of color and light, they knew that their love had brought forth something extraordinary. A beautiful tapestry, woven with the threads of passion, acceptance, and forgiveness, that redefined the serendipitous nature of life and the powerful transformative potential of love. They understood then that their meeting wasn't mere coincidence, but a serendipitous event that had painted their lives with love and hope.